Proverbs about human relations: cry in front of God, smile in front of people, be warm and respectful to those you meet for the first time. But be careful. Don't look down on people who are powerless now. Help the powerless and needy 100 times. And be careful of people who have a bad reputation. If you are grateful, say thank you. If you are sorry, say sorry loudly. Do you think you are grateful only in your heart? That is not a greeting. I'm not free enough to read the rest of my mind. I pay for my own meal, and I pay for other people's meals too. Don't take it for granted that others will do it for you. Never criticize or blame someone until you stand in their shoes. Affection born of impure motives dies when the motives disappear. The wisest person in the world is the one who can learn something from everyone he meets. If you want to know a man, look at his wallet, his pleasures and his complaints. If you can't bite your opponent, don't show your teeth. Don't listen to the advice of doctors who write free prescriptions. It's better to treat a horse as food than to collect it. Beware of anyone who acts cute. When you push someone with one hand, pull them with the other hand. Don't abandon those who are kind to you. It's not easy to meet someone like that. Throughout your life, see the small wrongs you commit against others as big, and the big wrongs others commit against you as small. It is better to lose to someone wiser than to win to someone foolish than to win. Don't take advantage of someone's goodwill. Those who greet first are blessed first. You should not despise a fool. You become wise because there are fools. When helping others, do it passionately. Don't be vague or set conditions about whether or not you will help them. You will only end up selling your body and getting cursed at. Cats and mice do not fight when they are eating the same prey. Give a lot of condolence money. When people are sad, they become sensitive even to small things. Be interested in and kind to those who are having a hard time. Be wary of those who don't. They are the ones who will betray you later when things get tough for you. When two people fight, the one who gives up the fight first is the more noble person. Even after you fight to the end and resolve your grudge, your heart will not be at peace. But after forgiving, the heart is cool and clear. People, like flies, want to gather around other people's wounds. When you are fooled by someone, blame that person. But if you have been fooled twice by that person, blame yourself. Aphorisms about friendship: friends are like coal. If you keep a reasonable distance, you can keep your body warm. But if you get too close, your body will drift away.
I'd rather have a clear enemy than an ambiguous friend.
One word from a close friend hurts more than 100 words from a stranger. There's a new kind of friend. It's like food, a friend you always have by your side. It's like medicine, a friend you sometimes need. It's like a disease, a friend you always have to avoid. If you try to make friends without flaws, you will never have friends for life. He who does not lend money to a friend never loses a friend. Just because your friend has honey, you shouldn't lick it too. Keep close to friends who criticize you, and keep away from friends who praise you. Those who try to find faults in their friends will not have good friends. What you should hide from your enemies, hide from your friends. Bad friends care about your income, but not your expenses. A friend is like a migratory bird. He leaves you as soon as the weather gets cold. He who seeks a perfect friend has no friend at all. When choosing a wife, lower your standards one level. And when choosing a friend, raise your standards one level. If you let go of your prejudices, You will gain friends. Your most trusted friend is in the mirror. Proverbs about challenge and success. Think that there is always a greater misfortune than this. Nothing comes naturally. You shouldn't try to create the ocean all at once. The rose blooms among thorns. There are three things in the world that should not be overuse: its yeast, salt, and hesitation. That go into bread. Don't have two arrows. You won't focus on the first arrow because you have the second arrow. Do what needs to be done first and leave what can be put off until last. Even a small fire can start a big fire. The world is weak, but there are things that make the strong afraid. First, mosquitoes scare lions. Second, leeches scare buffaloes. Third, Paris scares scorpions. Fourth, spiders scare hawks. No matter how big or strong you are, you cannot say that you are a fearsome being that must be subdued. Even if you are very weak, you can defeat a strong person if you meet certain conditions. Choosing nothing is choosing. 1. One way to choose when there is no other way is to have courage. Not having money is losing half your life. Not having courage is losing everything. Don't regret too much. It will give you the courage to do the right thing. Half of success is patience. To open the door to success, you have to push or pull. Fear of failure? It's worse than failure. Failure is experience and the mother of success. Winners dive into the problem. Losers stay on the edge. The winner makes his way through the snow, while the loser waits for the snow to melt. The winner sees the sun above the clouds. The loser sees the rain in the clouds. Winners prove their words with their actions, but losers justify their actions with their words. A winner falls 7 times and gets up 8 times, but a loser regrets each and every one of the 7 times he fell. A winner's day lasts 25 hours. A loser's day lasts only 23 hours. The winner's favorite phrase is, "Let's try again." And the loser's favorite phrase is, "There's no point in trying." When a winner sees someone superior to him, he respects them and learns from them, while a loser becomes jealous and tries to find holes in that person's armor. There is a dream in the pocket of the winner and greed in the pocket of the loser. If you lie down on the floor, you won't fall. Likewise, if you don't climb too high, you won't fall from a high place. The road to the institution is narrow, but the road to optimism is wide. If there is an uphill, there must be a downhill. If you miss 1 day of studying, it takes 2 days to recover it. If you don't study for 2 days, it takes 4 days to get it back. If you don't study for a year, it takes fate to get it back. An enterprising amateur is better than a half-baked professional. You shouldn't go far away without thinking. The way back is far. Hope is a powerful weapon to make the future your own. Life is like catching the tail of the future. Unless you give up hope. A person has 3 names.
One is the name given by your parents.
Another is the name people call you, and the last is the name you achieve for yourself. A name you create yourself is worth much more than a name given to you. Withdraw, but do not cancel. Live well. That is the best revenge. Aphorisms on attitude. Excessive. Humility is no different from arrogance. The upright man controls his desires, but the upright man is controlled by his desires. There is a big difference between a person who is embarrassed in front of others and a person who is embarrassed in front of themselves. Shamelessness and pride are not brothers. Anyone can fail. Also, the failure may not end with just one time. But what if you fail again in the same way? You don't have to be kind to yourself anymore. It's not a matter of circumstance anymore. It's not just a question of method. It is urgent to awaken to oneself who does not know how to reflect. If you have been deceived by someone, you may resent their deception, or think that you were innocent. But if I were to be fooled by him again, I wouldn't just blame his natural talent as a con man. The story is that you also enjoyed his seduction. The place where a person reflects on himself stands is more sacred than the place where the greatest saint stands. Rather than regretting what has already passed, regret what you did not do. Don't make excuses that you will learn when you have time. Be not as stiff and unbending as a pine tree,
but as soft and bendable as a reed.
It is good to have others praise you, but it is not right to praise yourself.
He who tries to find his own faults
Does not find those of others, and he who only finds those of others does not find his own. Even if you cannot easily change your decisions, you must continue to work on improving yourself. Before you blame the rat, block the rat hole. Do well in everyday life. The virtues you do in everyday life will shine in times of crisis. It doesn't matter if one person tells you, "You're a donkey." If 2 people say so, be concerned. If 3 people say so, buy yourself a saddle. A great man has 2 educations. One is the education you receive from your teacher, and the other is the education you receive from yourself. Find yourself, take some time alone, and think quietly. Even if it's just for an hour, actions speak louder than words. There is nothing more liberating than admitting your own mistakes, but nothing weighs so heavily on the mind as wanting to be acknowledged as right. A strong person is one who can suppress himself and turn his enemies into friends. You can't spend your life crying and wasting your time, but you can't spend your life laughing either. Don't worry about what happens tomorrow. Don't expect miracles or changes when you don't even know what's going on. It is important to talk about how to live, but it is more important to practice it. If you have a good jar, use it today.
It may break tomorrow.
If you follow the lesson, blessings will follow, and if you reject the old, disaster will follow. Think of today as your last day, and think of today as your first day. Don't look at the shell. Look at what's inside. It's better to live in poverty than to live on the mercy of others. He who thinks himself wicked is more valuable than he who thinks himself righteous. Dress as well as you can. Appearance is much more important than you think. He who spits in a well will one day drink from it. The bugs that live in cabbage think of cabbage as their world. A heart that holds a grudge is not happy, but after forgiving, my mind feels refreshed and clear. He who harms the heart of a man is more guilty than he who harms the body of a man. We cannot control our eyes, ears, and nose by ourselves, but we can somehow control our mouth, nose, and feet. A richer person is one who knows how to be content with what he has. A person who is loved by others is one who praises everyone. Be master of your will and slave of your conscience. When doing good, weigh the difficulties it brings with the happiness it brings. When doing evil, weigh the pleasure it brings with the unhappiness it brings.
Repel with your left hand what your right hand tempts.
If you have caused something,
be sure to take responsibility for it.
If you have learned and realized something, put it into practice immediately. Your fingers are free so that you don't hear gossip. If you hear gossip, quickly cover your ears. A jar with coins in one leaf makes a loud noise, but a jar full of coins is quiet. Soap is what cleans the body.
And tears are what cleans the mind.
When you go, one reed is easy to break, but when 100 reeds are bundled together, they do not break easily. A tree that is full of delicious fruit does not sway in the wind. If a stone falls on a jar, it is a misfortune for the jar. If a jar falls on a stone, it is also a misfortune for the jar. Whatever the reason, it is the misfortune of the jar. A moderately stupid car is more stupid. It is more frightening to be blind to the heart than to be blind to the eyes. Even if you light several candles with one candle, the light of the first candle will not be dimmed. It shines even in that much dirt. The king rules the country, but the wife rules the king. When the devil is busy looking for humans, send numbers instead. When alcohol enters, secrets come out. A proverb about speech. Man has one mouth and 2 ears, which means he should listen twice, as much as he speaks. Humans learn to speak immediately after birth, but it is quite difficult to learn to keep one's mouth shut. A liar must have a great memory. You must not lie. But there are some truths that cannot be spoken. Think of your words as the moon you are crossing. If your bridge is not strong, you will not cross. To slander others kills 3 people: oneself, the other person, and the person listening to it. A person who does not know how to keep his mouth shut is like a door that does not close. In chapter 3, you can catch a bird that has escaped, but you cannot catch a word that has left your mouth. Sit with your ears above your mouth. The truth is as dangerous as lies. The greatest pain is not being able to tell others. A wise man tells others what he has seen with his own eyes, while a fool tells others what he has not seen with his own eyes and has only heard about. Don't gossip about others.
If you have time, do some push-ups.
What are you going to listen to with your ears? It is difficult to decide what to see with one's own will, but the mouth can do whatever it wants. Teach your tongue to say, "I don't know," and the tongue will stick to the heart. You should listen to what comes out of your own mouth, more than what comes out of other people's mouths. A wicked tongue is worse than a wicked hand. Wise words are worse than wise actions. Keep silent in front of those who are wiser than you. The pain of being hit will eventually go away, but the insulting words will remain forever. He who speaks hastily commits a mistake hastily. When words are in your mouth, they are your slave, but once they come out, they are your master. When you keep a secret, the secret is your prisoner. But the moment you tell it, you become a prisoner of the secret. Even in a bright open field, the soil is slightly swollen. Don't tell secrets. When you talk at night, keep your voice low. When you talk during the day, look around. A wise man knows what he is talking about. A fool only knows that he is talking. Silence is also an answer. Silence makes a good man more good. Therefore, fools do not know the value of silence. The best medicine to put a fight to rest is silence. It's easy for a stupid car to hide its own stupidity. Just keep your mouth shut. How to discern a fool? A fool is talkative. Humans sleep because the soul also needs rest. Give your mouth a rest and listen to what others say. If you want to live a long and happy life, breathe through your nose and keep your mouth shut. Just as a fish gets caught by its mouth, so do humans get caught by their mouths. The greatest punishment a liar receives is that others do not believe him when he tells the truth. Words are as light as feathers and difficult to pick up and hold. Speak only what you can take responsibility for. Your friend has a friend, and that friend has another friend, and that friend's friend has another friend.
So be careful what you say to your friends.
Money proverbs: a thick wallet is not always good, but an empty wallet is not always good either. Money creates opportunity. Money doesn't make everything good, but it doesn't make everything bad either. To praise the rich is not to praise the rich, but to praise the money they have. If you have a lot of wealth, you have more worries. But if you have no wealth at all, you have more worries. It's not a shame to stay still, but it's not an honor either. What humans need is food, clothing, and shelter. But that food, clothing, and shelter are provided with money. Money seems very precious. To those who do not have it, there are three things that hurt people. It's all about worries, arguments, and empty wallets. Of all the things, an empty wallet hurts people the most. If you chase them any longer, they will run away, and if you think they are no longer needed, they will follow you and gather together naturally. It is better to lend money than to just give it away. If you just give, the receiver has to be inferior to the giver. But if you lend and borrow, you can be equal. When a person is born, his hands are clenched. But when he dies, his hands are open. Because when we are born, we want to grab everything in the world. But when we die, we are empty-handed. Animals live only with animals of their own kind. A wolf cannot mix with a sheep, and a hyena cannot mix with a dog. The same is true of the rich and the poor. The pleasures enjoyed by the rich are obtained through the tears of the poor. The body depends on the mind, and the mind depends on money. Medicine cures everything except the pain of poverty. You can't get rich by loving money. Money should love you. Can you make money with the money
You have?
it is not used? Don't spend the money you would spend on firewood in the winter, on fun in the summer. It is better to eat shiitake mushroom soup and walk down the street with confidence than to eat meat soup and run away from debt collectors. There is one way to become rich. Do today what you have to do tomorrow and eat tomorrow.
What you have to eat today.
The poor suffer only in 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. Don't laugh when you borrow money from others. You'll end up crying when you pay it back. Proverbs about man is stronger than steel and weaker than a fly. Actions already taken do not change, but people change every day. A human being can forget in 2 minutes what it took him 20 years to learn. It is easy to care for and love humanity, but it is not easy to care for and love humans. The closest thing to man is intelligence, and the most fearsome enemy is desire. People neglect what they have and covet what they do not have. Just as each person's face is different, each person's secret is different. Even a slave is free if he is satisfied with reality, and even a free man becomes a slave immediately if he is dissatisfied with reality. The bad points of a good person are better than the good points of a bad person. There is something wrong with everyone somewhere. Old people know that they can never become young again.
But young people do not know that they are growing old.
The righteous are called the living even after they die. But even though he is alive, he is called dead. Humans are happy when a child is born and sad when a person dies. But this needs to change, because we don't know what will happen to the child who is born. But when a person dies, we know what he has already accomplished. Proverbs about life happiness is something you only realize its value after you lose it. Enjoy the moment. The moment you are living now will be the best memory of your life later. If you don't want to regret later, enjoy yourself to the fullest. It takes only a moment to change from happiness to unhappiness. But on the contrary, it takes a long time to change unhappiness to happiness. Learn knowledge from books and wisdom. From life, there is no wealth more precious than health. You can buy money with time, but you can't buy time with money. He who controls time controls life. What about the cucumbers that have started to open? I don't know if they will be delicious in the future. Life is a dream to the wise, a play to the fool, a comedy to the rich,
and a tragedy to the poor.
Always think that there is something worse. Where there is good, there is always a little evil. Evil things are sweet at first, but bitter later. But evil spreads faster than good things, which are bitter at first, but sweet later. It doesn't take wisdom to bring good luck, but when it comes to seizing luck, wisdom is needed.